Welcome to RSKE tutorial, Anthropometric Module and Hand Tools Design. Before starting, better we pray first and pray welcome. Praying is over. Well, let's start by paying attention to the following illustration. Here, there is an illustration of the rider who does not feel comfortable with the bike. We can see that on the bike is not in accordance with the size of the rider's body. So, this rider when pedaling his bike must be in a standing position and the handlebars of the bike are also less comfortable. This is where anthropometry and hand tools design play an important role, where we can adjust the size of the bike to the size of the rider's body so that later when riding the rider feels comfortable, can change the height of the bike and the size of the handlebar to match the size of the rider's body. In the next slide, there is an outline of this module. Number one is purpose, and the second one is input and output, and the next one is materials, and the last one is case study. Here, there is a purpose of learning anthropometric and hand tools design, namely, first, practicing is able to understand the concept of anthropometric and hand tools design. Second, practicing is able to know the interaction between humans, machine, equipment, work environment, and the importance of hand tools design in the prevention of CTDS. Third, practicing is able to understand and perform anthropometric and data retrieval. 4. Practicing is able to understand the power of hand grip and its influence with hand design tools. And the last one, practicing is able to design workstation design, product design, or work environment based on anthropometric data in accordance with the ergonomic guideline for hand tools design. In this slide, we will know about input and output in this module. For input, operator demographic and operator anthropometric data. And for output, the first, calculation and allowance. Second is dimension of workstation, product or work tool. And the last one is design and recommendation of workstation, product or work tool based on anthropometric data and the principle of the ergonomic guideline for hand tools design. Before we continue, we must know first the anthropometric and what is hand tools design. Anthropometry comes from the words anthro, which means humans, and metry, which means size. By definition, anthropometry can be expressed as a study related to the measurement of the dimension of the human body. Then, hand tools are hand aids, extension of hand function that are quite important in everyday life, which in their use can cause injury or dangerous. Here, it is said to be important because if the design is not appropriate, it will cause injury to its user. Let's move into the next slide. Correlation. Once we know the definition of anthropometry and hand tools, what is the correlation of the two? Well, hand tools design aim to design product based on the principle of the ergonomic guideline for hand tools design by considering the strength and durability factors of the hand grip. And anthropometry aims to design product based on the dimensional size of the human body. So, if we draw a straight line, then these two are equally important and need to be considered in the design of an ergonomic product because comfort, security, and the size of the work tool will affect the interaction between workers and the tools used that can affect work safety. Next is the anthropometric data application. First, design a work area, for example, the design of the interior of the car. And the second one is design of work equipment, for example, in machine and tools. And the last one is consumptive product design, for example, the design of clothes and chair and table. Next, we move to the design philosophy in applying anthropometry. First one is design for extreme. When designing a place and work environment adapted to the extreme individual anthropometry, the intention of extreme individuals is that we use the largest of smallest individual body size. When using the largest body size, then we use percentage 95. And when using the smallest body size, then we use the 5th percentile. The second one is design for average. Usually, this design is used to design public facilities, because public facilities will be used by individuals with various body size, for example, are stops. So here we use the average percentile, which is 550. And the last one is design for range. This design is used to do a design that can be adjusted, or we call adjustable. For example, such as is in the steering wheel, where the steering wheel can be adjusted, can be raised, lowered, advanced, or reversed. And for the driver's seat, can also be adjusted. This design for range use percentile 5 until 95. Move to the next slide. These factors are divided into two: general factors and special. The first factor is 1. Age. It's clearly seen that age affects as a toddler will differ in dimension of his body with adults. Second one is gender. As we know, of course the size of the male body will be different from the size of the female body. The third, ethnic race. For example, as in the body size of Asians are usually smaller than the body of Europeans. Next, social level and nutrition. This social level will have an effect and have an impact on the fulfillment of good nutrition. Next, work. Here the work is also influential, such as someone who becomes a farmer or handyman will have a larger arm size. Next is regional environment. Based on several sources, according to Devi et al. In 2008, said that people living in rural areas will tend to thinner when compared to people who live in urban areas. And next is a special factor. Number one is disability. Disability will have different body dimension, of course. Second one is pregnancy. Pregnant women will also experience change in body dimension. And the third one is climate. For this climate will affect the design of clothes. For example, if we are in a snowy environment or in a hot environment, then the thin thickness of the clothes we use will be different. Next is anthropometric dimension limit. There are limitations of anthropometric. Number one is range dimension. Determination of dimension of design, where the smallest person in the population can use the design, by Perdomo 1988. Here, when we do the design, we will use the smallest person. For example, when we design a switch, we have to pay attention to the person with the smallest body size or does not reach for the switch we design. Next is dimension of space. The use of space dimension in planning. It is expected that the largest people in population can use design. So, here when we do our design using the largest body size, for example like designing the door, we will choose the largest person's body size so that the person who has the largest body can use the door. Next, we talk about anthropometric measurement. Anthropometric measurement are divided into two, namely static and dynamic. Static is a measurement when the position is standard and stationary, and dynamic is measurement when we are a working or moving position. Next, we talk about stage of measurement. Once we know the material, we must know the stage of measurement. The stage in making anthropometric measurement are: first, determine the user population. Second one is determine the dimension of the body to be used. 3. Selecting the percentage of the population to accommodate. 4. Determine the percentile used. 5. Provide allowance when needed. 6. Use mock-up or simulator for the design. Next, we move on to hand tools design. We start from the strength and defense of the hand. This strength and durability is an important point in hand tools design, where force means the maximum force that the hands release. Meanwhile, resilience means the length of time to maintain strength. An example is a hammer that weighs 5 kilos, which is said that to be strength is how strong we swing the hammer. Then what is said to be the durability is how long we can hold the grip on the hammer. Next, we talk about the factors that affect hand grip strength and durability. First is gender, where the man will have more endurance and hand grip strength than women. The second is age. It can be known that toddlers' strength and endurance compared to productive age. 3. Vibration. If we hold a device that produces vibration that are too large, it will affect the strength and durability of our grip. Number 4. Rotating posture. If we do posture movement that are too twisted and cause us to be in uncomfortable position, then this will affect the strength and durability of our hand grip. 5 is grip type. Here there are several types of grips. This also affect to the strength and durability of the hand grips. 6. Dominant hand. The dominant hand certainly affects the strength and durability of the grip. For example, as in people who are left-handed, the left hand will be stronger, while for people who are not left-handed, then the right hand is stronger. 7. Gloves. Gloves will also affect the strength and durability of the hand grips. For example, if we are in Europe and there is in the snow season, then we will not use maximum power when we work with gloves. 8. Range size and grip diameter. It can be seen if the hammer is too big, it will affect the strength and grip of the hand. The last one is operation. If a person has undergone surgery, then his strength and endurance grip will weaken. Next, we talk about hand tools design development. There have been several developments in hand tools design, namely first, degree of slope. First is degree of slope. The angle formed by 19 is formed from the intersection of straight line on the index finger with line under the thumb pad. An example to use is when we do a design handle or handle. Next is design of strong grip. There are several sorts here, including first, grip according to palm by Cons 1995. Second is maximum grip length is 12.5 cm. 3. Pressure at maximum grip of 100 Newton. And the last one is the maximum weight of the tool is 2.3 kg. Okay, next we'll get into more detail, namely ergonomic guidelines for hand tools design. Number 1. Avoid rigid design by groove to the tools according to the shape or the finger using percentile 50. An example is to make contour on a knife, then we have to make it safe, not slippery. 2. Avoid awkward movement on the use of tools that cannot be used effectively with normal posture and low pressure. For example, when we design scissors, the scissors should not be too tilted when we use them. 3. Avoid tools with sharp ends base. It's clear that if the tool is sharp, it will be dangerous. For example, a tool that has sharp handle. 4. The surface of the tool must be safe, non-conduction, and smooth. An example is when we design the pot while the handle on the pen cannot conduct so as not to conduct heat to its users. 5. Make sure the size of the tools used fits, not smalls. Because the tools whose size is not suitable requires greater power in its use. It's also clear, yes, as we discussed earlier, that the size of the tool must be in accordance with the users. 6. The tool should have the capability to be used by the right hand or left hand. As has been explained, in left-handed people prefer to use the left hand, but not everyone is left-handed. Then we should design a tool that is good for the right hand or left hand. 7. Tools should be effective for both men and women. The tool should be effective for both men and women. Here the goal is to avoid the tool can only be used for men or for women only. 8. Tools should have a special purpose, or tools are only used for certain activities. This is to make the tool more effective and efficient. 9. Consider the grip angle and minimize exercise waist rotation. The goal is to reduce fatigue. 10. Ensure safety in the use of tools. An example is when we use a hoe, then we have to make sure whether the handle is strong or not, so that when we use the handle does not come off. And the last one is designing tool with appropriate material to avoid excessive vibration. Next, we move to the hand grip recommendation for hand tools design based on degree of slope. Well, here are some recommendations for designing hand tools based on the degree of slope. Well, you can see that the left side is an example of an inappropriate handle, while on the right side, it is an example of the right handle. Maybe in everyday life, we often find tools with handles like the one on the left, but when adjusted, the right one is like the one on the right. Next, we talk about anthropometric measurement equipment. First, there is flexible curve. This tool is used to calculate the surface of the body that is not flat. For example, is the back, our back, I mean. The second one is anthropometric chair anthropometer, found that can be used for anthropometric measurement. And the last one is anthropometer. Next, we talk about anthropometric data processing. Entering into the processing of anthropometric data, in this anthropometry, we will use a normality test. As you know, no stranger to normality test. So, the normality test is a test conducted with the aim of assessing the distribution of data in a data group of variable whether the distribution of data is normal distribution or not. For the hypothesis, H0, which means normal distribution sample, and H1 is sample are not distributed normally. Decision: significant value less than 0.05, then H0 is rejected and H1 is accepted or sample is not distributed normally. And the significant value then more than 0.05, then H0 is accepted and H1 is rejected or sample are distributed normally. Please note that in order to process the next stage, then we must ensure that the data is distributed normally. Next, we talk about normality test. Here's how to rate it. Well, because we use a minimum of 30 data, then for the result, we look at the column Kolmogorov-Smirnov. It can be seen for LB, TSB, and RT, it can be seen that the data is below 0.05, or it can be assumed that the data is abnormal. So we have to replace the data again until normal. Alright, we talk about percentile. A percentile is the value of an anthropometric dimension that represents the percentage of a population that has a certain or lower dimensional size. For the formula, it is for more detail we go to the next slide. Here is a table of z-score, and here has been explained the percentile used in Generalis. Percentile 5 obtained from the data that we have obtained, and 1.645 is from table z-score. In the table z-score, we look for percentile 5, then value is 1.645 and multiply by the standard deviation, where the default deviation can be calculated using Excel with the formula std.def. The second, percentile 50, where it's derived from the data we've got. And the last one is percentile 95. For percentile 95, the formula is equal to percentile 5, which distinguishes only if n percentile 95 is summed up by 1.645. The last slide we talk about allowance. Then there is the allowance, the looseness factor provided if needed for each body dimension measured in the design of a product design or working system. For example, if men's clothing has allowance of 1.3 cm, then the body size that will be affected is the width of the body. Note, this is not only used for clothing, coats, shoes, but can also be for other tools, and friends can learn more. Thank you.